Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special occasion in this remarkable anniversary of our town, for our 850th anniversary. We will be opening the exhibition this morning of our charters, the Lost Charter exhibition, and we'll all be able to go through and look at these beautiful historic works of art that have come down to us over the centuries, which are still in such lovely condition. So I would like to introduce everyone who's going to be speaking today for our discussion. First off, may I introduce, of course, it may be well known to you all, Simon White, who is Deputy Mayor, coming up to the election shortly. So, Heritage Champion of the town, and I'm sure very well known to everyone here. And we have Sarah Firstfield, who is Archive and Events Museum.
Oh no,
that's you, sorry. I'm not done. Sorry. Sarah Firstfield, medieval costume expert and maker and trustee at Whittington Castle. Jane Fair, in charge of the paperwork and keeping us all in order this morning. And Elise Turner, Archive and Events Manager.
Activities and Events Manager.
Yes.
My lovely colleague Claire looks after our archives. Sorry if you can't read my writing.
No, it's all right, don't worry. And of course, I think I can remember mine. Glenn Martin James, author and illustrator, proud to be working on the project. Storyteller, very proud to be shortlisted for the Ruth Rendell Award this year, and founder of the John McGaunter Reckless Theatre Group. So thank you and welcome.
Right, hello. My first question is to Elise. It's 850 is plastered all over town. What is the significance of this, and why are we celebrating?
Yeah, it's plastered all over the room and all over the museum as well. And this is actually quite a surprisingly difficult question for me, because I spent 4 years studying medieval history at Keele University and York, and I specialised in the 12th century, this period. So how do I say why this matters in a really short word? So in short time. So I'm really relying on you, Jane, to throw the rotten vegetables if I start waxing lyrical about this. So Newcastle started. Can everyone hear me all right? Yeah, brilliant. And is everyone okay temperature-wise? Not getting too hot or too cold? Lovely. If you get hot or cold, let me know. So Newcastle started in the 1100s because there was a civil war, and that is why the castle was built. Does everyone know where the castle of Newcastle actually is? Have you seen it? It's actually right down by St Mary's School, and there's a park. You can't see much of it today, but there you can see the mound and you can see one of the walls. And it was built because Newcastle, which at that time was just empty grass and trees, was a really strategic point. We'd got the Roman road running through Chesterton. And in the 12th century, the town really grew up just around the castle to service the castle, and people started to grow quite prosperous, trading with the castle, sorting out what they need. But at this time, peasants, they were still what called serfs, and that is practically slaves. They belonged to the lord of the manor, they belonged to the king, and they had to work for free. So if the sergeant of the castle realised that they needed some work done, would he have to pay for it? No. He would just go out into the town and say, you, and you, I want you all to come. Don't leave your fields. I don't care about you growing the crops for your family. You've got to come work on the castle for the next 2 weeks. Oh, and by the way, you've got to provide all the timber and go into the forests. So it really wasn't fair. And it wasn't, if people said, would you like to time travel back in time, I wouldn't actually choose the 12th century as a time to go back to. So the people of Newcastle petitioned the king, Henry II, directly, that they wanted a charter for the borough of Newcastle so that people could be free and they could be exempt from all these tolls and tasks. Now, the original Henry II charter is actually lost. It's like so many medieval things. It's 850 years. The chances of it surviving is so rare. And that's why we're so lucky that actually we do have medieval charters that absolutely miraculously have survived 500 years. How is it? We had Keele University down for the preview tour today, and they were like, how have these things survived? These are so rare, such a rare find. But we know that it existed, and we know the date, because Preston, a few years after, made a copy of our charter, and it says in there that this is a copy of the Newcastle Charter that was made in 1173. So that is how we know the date. Now, the actual rights that the Charter gave us were pretty basic by today's standards. And you say, I'm not going to go into these because you can read it all in the exhibition. But it really was the founding of the civil rights, the civil liberties, the human rights acts that we really enjoy and rely on today. And it's also the birth certificate of Newcastle as a borough and as a town. So it's a huge celebration. We had one. Now, does anybody want to confess? Do you remember 1973?
Yeah.
Does anyone here remember the 1973 celebrations? Well, in the exhibition, in the second room, there's a video where Ray Johnson has provided us with the footage of 1973, all the celebrations, and then we've juxtaposed it with the video we made last year of our big practice event. We've got our big medieval event is happening the 3rd of June, but because it was so important, we did a practice run last year to make sure it all went okay. And those two videos are juxtaposed, and you can really see how things have changed in 50 years. Not least health and safety. You might see, if you watch, I'm thinking about all the risk
And that we actually have it now.
I'm thinking about all the risk assessments I've been writing for 3rd of June to people battling and things, and I don't think they did that in 1973, but I'll leave that to your judgment when you watch the video. So, we had a huge celebration in 1173, so is it well over 2 years we've been planning this, Simon?
Yeah.
It feels, it was the most bizarre thing when I started here, is that you were already planning it. So it was like, it's normally the craziness of me coming to an organisation where somebody else had already had the idea. Let's do a weekly medieval dance class. People think, that's definitely Elise's idea. It really wasn't. Someone had come up with that before I even started. So, if somebody said, Elise, do you want a job where you can plan a massive medieval party? Yes. So what a better excuse for what a better excuse for a party, and what a better excuse to remind us what a historic and wonderful place Newcastle is to live. Hopefully I kept that message.
Thank you.
That was 4 years of a Keele degree summarised in about 4 minutes. Was all those books I read, I've even brought them in today so you can have a look. I brought in all my uni books that I've kept if anybody's really interested in this. So there we are, 4 years of study in 3 minutes.
I'd like to address the next question to Simon, who is our Deputy Mayor at the moment. He is going to be the Mayor, he's just informed me, taking over on the 17th of May. So could I ask, why is it so important to mark this anniversary? Why is it so special?
Well, it's special, as we actually know. Being the Mayor for the first time, I've been the Mayor, this is going to be my 3rd time. So instead of being Charles the 3rd, it's going to be Simon White the 3rd. So it's very important because our history, which that's why I became the Heritage Champion, because 1173 and to 850 years of our borough, which is very, very more important. A few years back, we nearly lost the Mayor's Parlour, and everything what was in the Mayor's Parlour, it was actually brought into here. And actually, I found out, I stuck the key in through the door, so to speak, went into the Mayor's Parlour, the old chambers. Has anybody been to the old chambers in the old civic offices?
Yep.
Yeah. So walked in, turned the key, everything's been emptied. So I'm not going to mention anybody's names, but anyway, so I was fuming. So, and I said, where is all the, where's all the history, where's the necklaces, where's all the memorabilia, etc. It was here. So I came down to the museum, fuming, and they said, you've already catalogued it. So I had to say, I want it back. So
I'm taking good care of it.
Well, most of it. So I've got the key, got the car, brought everything back, and we've got a small Mayor's Parlour now at Castle House. So, and there's smaller things in there, but we've kept the history, we've kept the memorabilia, and that's more important. But the rest of the stuff is actually here at the museum. So if anybody wants a nosy at the Mayor's Parlour, then it's nothing big down there, but you're more than welcome to come to the council meeting on the 17th of May.
Supplementary question. So Simon, the actual seal that you can see on all the charters in the exhibition, it is the town seal. Am I right? Are you already using that in your role as Mayor?
I certainly have. I just want to let you all know we went to the lieutenancy and we actually wanted a member of the royal family to come down. because of the coronation and
How
everything
rude.
that's going on. They picked the wrong date. They could have
They
went to the
have.
17th,
So
couldn't they?
Yeah, so inconsiderate.
So what's happened is we wrote to the lieutenant came back and said to me, Simon, we can't get any of the members of the royal family. They're not interested. Or they're not biting. So what I did then, the lieutenant came to me and said, Simon, you write to the king. So I wrote to the king. And I thought, why make it something special? So on the lovely paper and the envelopes, I turned them over, nice wax seal of Newcastle on the print on there, and I sent it, recorded delivery, first class, and he's received it. But what I've asked for, I know we won't get a visit, so I think what we'll do is we'll get a letter to congratulate us for 850 years. That's what I think. But also the cheek of the devil, which I am, I'll be dead in 50 years. So what I did, I actually said on the bottom of it, we would like some video footage just to say thank you for the 850 celebrations. I don't think we're going to get it, but if you don't ask, you don't get. So that's what I've done. So we will inform you all and let you know what's happening. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Glenn, I'd like to ask you the next question.
Question and answer, please.
Hi, Glenn.
As we've heard, the original charter has been lost, but you've been working with the schools and volunteers to help recreate it. Can you tell us why you've done that and what you've been doing?
Oh, it's a wonderful thing. It's such a part of our history, and sadly we don't know what happened to it. Elise and I did a little sketch for the children in one of the schools, and we debated back and forth what might have happened. We said someone had put it somewhere safe.
Yeah.
So, which is the worst thing to do for anything you want to keep safe. So it could have been tucked in the thatch, it could have been put behind a brick in the wall, something along those lines, put in a chest that was lost. But in the story, the explanation we came up with was that while they were tidying up the archive, when they were looking for it, someone accidentally put it on the fire, like in Citizen Kane, where you see Rosebud burn in the background and no one knows it's gone. But what we did, I've been working in school, and Miss Heath is gloriously with us today. We've been working with St Mary's Catholic Primary School, and part of the project is we've recreated a children's charter, a school's charter. And 60 children, 2 classes, 5H and 5B, have been working with us, and it's been a lovely day. They had a story about Brother James with myself in monastic robes, telling him about how homesick he is, having left Newcastle to go and get the charter and what the town looked like, and going to King Henry II to collect it, and then trying to get back through all the dangers that would have presented, and bringing it back home to everyone. And the children came to Brampton Museum, and they saw Jim Morgan, gave them a wonderful talk on heritage. And Jim from the Burgesses came in and spoke to them as well. They liked the gavel, they really did. They really liked that. But the children have written their contents around their own charter, and they've been writing with quill pens and ink and writing the King's greeting in Latin and their name in Latin, and they've done a little colourised picture of the King's image, and they've made their own charters. And there were 60 of them. And they produced that and found out all about the fact that the castle was where their school is, literally where their school is. So we took them to Tutbury so they could see a castle that was still in existence. And Leslie Smith, the great actress, wonderful historical performer, met us in the church and did Mary Queen of Scots to the children, which was mesmerising. I've never seen her myself. It's like walking and seeing a film star in there. She's brilliant. And then we went and we saw the Tudor room, the Stuart room, and the medieval musicians as well. So they really had a taste of the heritage. And when we came back, we said, that castle you've just seen would have been something almost exactly like that on the site where your school is, with a great big pool around it. And that castle gave birth to the charter. Because as Elise was saying, the town grew up because the castle came into existence. People collected nearby to service the castle. And it was on a junction in the road, so travellers stopped there as well, and boom, the whole thing took off. So that's been lovely. I've done a lot of research myself with regard to recreating it. I actually contacted the Parliamentary Archive, and it will make you all feel very pleased, I think, to know. They said, we'd like to help you, but your charter's so old, it actually predates Parliament.
Yeah.
It actually predates Parliament. It would have come from the Royal Court. So, but they recommended a wonderful authority, which they suggested I check with the archive at Stafford as well, which was a marvellous book, and it gave me all sorts of information, including the 5 points of what goes into a charter, which has been a huge help.
Oh, sorry, that
It's
is
the
just
window.
the window. We're all breathing, so it's
Yes.
all very technological. We asked for just like a normal window, but the builders who did this room, like, oh no, you want something fancy. You want them to open automatically when it gets hot. So yes, and apologies if that's a little noisy.
So I've got a really good Rosetta Stone to guide me over creating it. And I've spoken to Jim Morgan at length
Bet he spoke to you
over
at
the
length.
contents of what the Burgess's rights would have been and things like that. So I've got a good insight into that. So I'll be working on recreating that with a quill pen to be presented to Simon on the 3rd of June, officially to the town.
Yeah.
And also working in the museum with volunteers, double checking over the Burgess's rights and the earliest pictures of the castle and the church as well, and the Guildhall, which will culminate going towards it, and which will be a research guide, which will go onto the website for the museum and for the borough, so anyone wanting to find out about this in future can look into it. So it's all go, and it's been incredibly interesting and fascinating to find out about. And Simon's been a great support all the way through. So thank you very much.
Pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Claire.
Does everybody like the design? The 850?
Now that we've got that, okay. So, Sarah, can I ask you about the replica costumes you've made that we're all going to see in a few minutes? Could you tell us more about this? And could you tell us about what we would have seen if we could step back to 1173? Personally, I want to know not just what we would have seen, but what we would have smelt, because many people didn't have many clothes. And could you just give us a bit more about what you've done for that?
I'll do my best, yes. Well, Elise mentioned summing up 4 years degree in 3 minutes. I have to sum up 35 years of rather obsessive research in 3 minutes. First off, though, I have not actually made any of the replica costumes which are in the museum. Some of them are yours,
Oh, forget that, yes.
and most of them have been made by people here, because we've had a workshop with the dancers. We're having another this afternoon, and they're actually making their own, because I would much rather pass on skills to people than just go mine, and do it all myself, even if I'd be richer that way round. Teaching is more fun and more interesting. So what have we been wearing? Well, you've probably got an image in your head already, and depending on your age and your background and what you've read, it is either involves beautiful shiny curtain fabrics and tall pointy hats with little bits of veil off the end, or Monty Python's peasants with, you know, the hems all fringed, ragged and mud everywhere. Well, it's closer to the latter than the former. The pointy hat is about 400 years in the future at this date. And it's very difficult really to describe, because clothing was very simple. So yes, you didn't have a lot of it, but if you've got a change of underwear and the dress that you wear and the best dress that you wear for the Charter Fair, and something nice to put on your head, then you're happy. How smelly they were depends on how many changes of underwear they've got. There will have been somewhere in the river where people went and washed things, so they shouldn't have been too bad. But it would have looked, to our eyes, fairly plain and fairly uniform. But then if you look at a modern crowd, it's fairly plain and fairly uniform. We could wear absolutely anything today, but mostly we don't. We all wear the same things. And it's much the same. So there's a very simple form, but you would have known who had paid more for their cloth and who was wearing the same one they'd had for years and years and years. So it's quite simple to recreate, but it's all in how you wear it. And you'd have known, say, who was out chasing the pigs and who was riding up to the castle looking splendid. And so to understand it better, I just say look closely and think about living it and wearing it, rather than, oh, it's a costume people put on. Because nobody's ever got up in the morning and put on a dressing up costume, or not until this century, when we do it quite a lot. People's clothes make sense to them at the time, and they're based on what's being produced locally, and no doubt that will have involved flax and hemp and sheep. Lots and lots of sheep and growing numbers of sheep, so we owe it all to them, really. I hope that's given you a little bit of an idea, but come along and watch the dances later.
Can I just
See
add,
more.
sorry. Can I just add that in the exhibition as well, there is a handling box where you can touch some of the fabric. We have hand-stitched a pair of medieval underpants, so you can see what a medieval underpant, you can pick that up and touch them. Yeah, I mean, it's like, oh yeah, and that would, yeah, so we've probably gone a little bit overkill. And but also, if you do watch the 1973 celebrations, one thing you might notice is they didn't have the benefit of a wonderful costume expert like Sarah. I will say no more. But
Are they wearing pointy hats?
if you were to compare the two costumes, you may notice that the level-head historical accuracy is slightly a bit more accurate this time around. I am saying no more about the wonderful celebrations. They look great fun in 1973. They really did. But in terms of historical accuracy, on that Monty Python to Keel Uni scale, they're a bit more down the other end. Thank you. Thank you.
Again, Sarah, you've mentioned about the dance troupe. Could you tell us more about what you've been doing with them and what they've been doing with you, as you said?
Well, as I said, Elise arranged a workshop. I'm trying to think when it was.
November.
Last year, early this year, November, yes. Close to the big reenactors market so we could discuss cloth, because it's all about having a decent piece of nice plain woven wool. And then the shapes, as I say, are quite simple, so it's easy to give a formula for how to plan the body and the sleeves. I should have brought one. I could hold it up and say like this, which is what I usually do, but then I've gone into technical detail. So in theory, it's easy. In practice, people are never the size you think they're going to be. If you come along expecting them all to be large, it turns out they're all tiny and vice versa. So it comes to, we had this place open now, and just imagine this room with long pieces of cloth laid out and people with yardsticks and chalk going, is that going to be big enough? And me going, I hope so. But we actually got about 10 dresses cut out, and some of them were finished,
Yeah.
some of them were machined together
Yeah.
and sneaked out.
Many of the costumes have been lovingly hand-stitched, as they would have been. Other people did illicitly go into the back and use a sewing machine, which of course is behaviour I personally could never endorse.
I'm going to be devil's advocate here and say that for the purpose of getting a group of dancers
Yeah.
or getting townspeople involved, it isn't a punishment. I do get obsessed about hand sewing things because I want to know how they make the seams. I think about, well, if you've not got an iron, how do you get it to lie flat? So for me, it's research. But if you just want something to wear, if you cut it out right and the fabric's right and you arrange it right when you put it on, I'm not going to ask if you used an overlocker or not, because that isn't what matters. What matters is what we would see and what we get out of it in terms of having a modern celebration. So there's a balance to be made there.
Brilliant. And Sarah, can I ask you to hold up your prop in
Oh,
front
yes,
of you, your
my
poster?
prop. Yes.
Today, the internet is a strange place. It is International Dance Day. Who knew? So what better time to say that the first performance of the dancers is actually this Thursday. So hence we're having our final costume fitting this afternoon. What could possibly go wrong? It's all going to be fine.
So no pressure at all
No
this
pressure,
afternoon.
Sarah. Museum shuts at 5. So on this Thursday, the 4th of May, it's going to be the first performance over at Newcastle College by Daniel Jones Dance, who many of you know is down at J2 at the gym. It's going to be different dance periods through history. So there is a medieval dance. They have been meeting every week here at the museum and at J2 every week for a year, volunteers, to practice this dance so you can come and see it. And then we'll be doing through the ages, so they'll be doing different costumes, they'll be doing the 1950s. Of course, medieval costumes will be the best, but do come and have a look at the 1950s, they'll be dancing in as well. So tickets are on sale, and if you just go on the 850 website, it is plastered everywhere over the museum. Follow the link and you can book tickets to come and see the dance on Thursday. And they will also be joining us for the big celebration on 3rd of June with Appetite. And they will be performing in here, and for your, if you wish to, at the end of the day there'll be an opportunity for you to have a go if you would like to, because the dances will be, we do want to keep going, so the dance group will be continuing after the 850 celebration. So if you do want to learn some historical dances, come on 3rd of June, give it a try, and you might get a taste for it.
Thank you. Again, Elise, Glenn's already told us about the stuff he's been doing with the schools, and the work is absolutely fantastic. But could you tell us, are there any more ways that schools can get involved?
Yeah. Loads more schools activities coming up. So after the 3rd of June, we've got loads of local schools who are going to be coming up to the museum. They will be working with Dan to do a little bit of dance. They'll be learning how to write with a quill, and also we're having a castle building competition, not out of cardboard.
Little ones.
a little cardboard competition, and then all the details are on the website. But there's going to be a weekend at the end of June, I think, where there'll be a display of all the castles the children have made. And Glenn will be doing another review, very popular Have a Go with a Quill days that day. So there are lots of schools going to be getting involved. Come up to the museum, come see their model castle display, and also, Sam, right, there's some mugs as well, aren't there, the 850 logo
There's some mugs being made, and there's also some plates as well, but they're just for the schools.
You can't take the potteries out of us, can you?
No,
Really?
we always look underneath, don't we?
Yeah. Did you know that one of the original recipes for China came from Newcastle, not from Stoke? I mean, sorry. Yes, and I think that's what you were quite passionate about, Simon, because mugs were given out in 1973, and you immediately went, oh, I want some mugs for but only for the lucky children who make a castle. You've got to work for it. You can't get it for free like you did in the 70s. You've got to work for it now.
My school was on the wrong side of the board, we never got one.
Oh!
From a charity shop there. So, Elise.
Oh, sorry, me again.
Yeah. The exhibition and events, so many things are going to be going on in the town. They don't even fit onto one. We've had to split them between the two different posters. Can you tell us, nitty gritty, where's the money come from?
So, they've come from various sources. First of all, who here plays the National Lottery? Ever bought a scratch card, Euro Millions? Now, I'm guessing because you're sitting here and not on a beach in Barbados, you didn't win, all right? Well, I want to say a huge thank you. It is through you playing the games that we've got the grant for this beautiful building, for my wages today. I'm very bedecked. I decided, shall I dress up as Constance today? No, I'm going to dress fancy so I can bedeck myself with so many National Lottery thank you logos. So we've got the grant from the National Lottery, we've got a grant from the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, so that's those levelling up logos you see around the town. We've got some great support, as always, from the council. We are very grateful for the support that we get from the Council Museum, because that is what enables us to keep our doors open for free. If you look at other museums, they charge for entry. The council support means that we can stay free. But also, a lot of the money has come from business sponsors. So if you look on our website, so many businesses have put their hands in their pocket and say, we will give not this exhibition, but the wider 850 celebration. So things like the mugs, and I'm not even going to mention all the other events. Read them all on the website, but you can see all you can see all the sponsors listed and all the stuff that they are doing. But also the other thing is public donations. You will see in the exhibition there is a ring that was found last year in Audley, just by where the castle was, that was dug up. It's considered treasure, and the British Museum had it for over £1,000. We put out an appeal. We raised in a few weeks the £1,000 to buy that ring, so it's come home to Newcastle, and you can see it today. So it's a combination of business sponsors and the great Newcastle public putting your hands in your pockets. So we are very grateful, and please continue to do so.
Thank you very much. Now, Simon, as we've said, you're going to be the mayor for the majority of the 850 celebrations. What are you looking forward to most?
I'm looking forward to really is my job is to network with everybody in Staffordshire. That's my boundary. So all local businesses, all sponsors, anybody who's actually helped me and helped our borough, then I'll be working with very, very closely. But also we've got to actually think about local businesses, that heritage builders, what we've actually got now. We've got, like say, for instance, the Guildhall. That's a lovely, lovely, lovely building, and I think, are we doing mock the mermaking again, are we?
We are indeed, yes, we're building up to that. We got a provisional date, the 9th of September, and talks are very much on the go at the moment, staging it. But we did it in 2019, and it was a lovely day. It'd be smashing to stage it again.
Isn't it funny though, every time I become the mayor, they have to do mock.
Who knew? Yeah.
You're the one who doesn't need to be mocked.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. We know you're going to be involved in a lot of the 850. Can I ask you, Sarah, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm actually, I never thought I would say I regret not living in Newcastle under Lyme. I've had to travel 50 miles to be here, but so I'm going to miss out on all this exciting stuff. But I am coming on the 3rd of June when we've got a big do out in the park here, haven't we? And as Elise mentioned last year's practice run, well, it didn't feel like a practice or anything. It felt like a wonderful, big, lively community.
Yeah, 2,000 people on the park.
Lots of people coming and just having fun. And what I do at an event like that is sit there in my grumpy old woman sewing outfit with clothes for them to pick up. And if I send them home going, oh, they did have needles, and it wasn't all made at home, and it wasn't all frayed at the edges, and they were like us, really, then I've had a good day, and people have had a good day. And what we're going to do to make that experience more exciting on the 3rd is I've agreed to bring all I can round up of earnest, woolly, shapeless garments and pieces of headwear so that you can come along and put some on and take a photo. We're going to get, I believe the plan is a proper photographer and a mirror so you can see what you look like, and you can come and dress up and get a memento of what you might have looked like 850 years ago.
Yeah. We have got a small sort of selfie station in the exhibition, so there is a costume box there of some repertoire, so you can try, if you aren't coming on the 3rd of June, you can try it on today, and we've got the little backdrop that we're going to have on the 3rd in the exhibition, so if you do wish to selfie yourself up today, we haven't quite finished yet, there's not like everything in the box, but we've made a start, and also in the box, Sarah might hate this, but there is a teeny tiny baby Henry VIII costume. It is all polyester and awful, but we saw it online and it was so cute. So
the thing is, under 6 years old, anything is a good
goes,
experience.
yes. So do feel free to dress up today, but if you want the proper experience with a changing area, come on the 3rd of June.
Yeah.
So, Elise, apart from dressing up, obviously, what are you looking forward to most?
Oh, I think I'm looking forward to the big battle that we're going to have at the end of the 3rd of June. We have, working with Keele and Staffs Uni, Medieval Reenactment Society. Has anybody ever driven past Keele Field on a Sunday and seen them all out there training? They are, well, I say they are students but also graduates. So people like me who left Keele only a couple of years ago, but still have ground. So they are Keele and Staffs Uni students and graduates. They have been training every Sunday for more than 2 years with replica weapons to bash each other senseless for your entertainment on the 3rd of June. So, I mean, I'm sure nobody ever suspected I had a streak of violence in me. But what I'm saying is that people say what some women want is a knight in shining armour to come and sweep them off their feet. I don't want that. I want guys and girls in dented armour because they've been whacking each other senseless for your entertainment. So on the 3rd of June, there's lots of peaceful things going on. There is Glenn's calligraphy, there's music, there's dance, there's a replica. You'll be able to see medieval food. Don't eat it, but you can look at it. And we've got health and safety risk assessed that. You can look, but don't eat. You can see the food as it was made. There'll be traditional crafts, so you can see how things were made. But for me, the big thing is the end of the day, on the field, there'll be safety barriers so you don't get too close, but people just whacking each other senseless in authentic armour for your entertainment.
Thank you. So, we're about to declare the...
Oh, Glenn, what are you most looking forward to?
Oh,
Sorry, it's like blind dates and the same question to number 3. Glenn, what are you most looking forward to?
need a big panel to slide back in one day. Completing the charter and presenting it, of course, on the 3rd of June. That we've all worked towards it for such a long time. It's going to be such a lovely day to do that. Really looking forward to it. And doing them up there as well.
Yes.
Because that's such a part of our history. It goes back such a long way. And if you get a chance while you're at the museum, if any of you are familiar with the painting, on the stairs, it's a great big piece on the wall just as you turn the corner to go up into the upstairs levels. And it's gorgeous. It's all in all a beautiful, beautiful picture. And we tried to recreate it as authentically as possible with everyone's costumes. And Jane made the wig for them up there, which is like Brian May times 6. It's a marvellous thing. And we've got the wooden staff, and the Mace Bearers had the cabbages on the staff as well. And with it being such a big anniversary, it's so lovely to have the opportunity to touch that heritage and restate that again. So I really hope we can do that. I'm looking forward to it.
And it's better than blind date. The same question to number 4. Jane, I understand you're doing some pom-poms.
Oh, yes. We're trying to set the Guinness World Record for the world's longest pom-pom chain.
I got this on like the second day I met her after I started here. I was like, and my plan is I'm going to break the world record. And I was like, okay.
We've got some fantastic plans. I'm not sure if I can let them out yet, but we're having a spectacular on the 15th of October. And if you're in a community group or a school or just want to do them at home, we can let you have pom-pom makers, wool, scissors, everything you need to get involved and become a record breaker and help Newcastle become an even bigger record breaker than we already are. Packs can be picked up from the Guildhall or the Sense shop in Newcastle, or you can just say, hey you, I want some wool. Thank you very much.
And we are having a pom-pom making day at the museum on the 31st of May. So if you do want to come and make pom-poms with friends, that's the 31st of May, I think. It's all on the website, on the website and the leaflets.
Yes. So, Elise, we're about to declare the exhibition open. What can we expect to see, please?
So, you're very lucky today. You've got a double bill. We're not just opening the Lost Charter exhibition, but if those of you who like your heritage a bit more recent, things maybe that you can remember, we're also declaring open today our Fascinating Folk of Newcastle exhibition. Some of you may have already come to our events already. We've got 12 themes for 12 months. So each month we're focusing on different people in Newcastle who have perhaps made a difference or done something really interesting. So you've got a double bill opening today. So there's 3 rooms to see. The first room has the historic charters in, and it is the first time that all the charters have been on display together in one space. This is thanks to our lottery funded expansion. It's the first time we've actually had a space big enough to get them all out. So as you go in, there will be taking you through from the beginning, we've actually been really lucky to get not 1 but just 2 replica charters. So we've had so while Glenn will be making his during the exhibition, so you can actually come and see Glenn working in the museum. We've had a second replica made by, just to give you an idea of what it might be like. Then we've got sort of there's a medieval area with, of course, costumes, there's little smelly things, there's lots of informative signs. It'll then take you through to a Tudor area to see how things have changed, how things are a bit different. We've got a selfie station, we've got a touch area where we've made copies of the seal, sorry, that word just disappeared there, copies of the seal, so you can, even though they're all behind glass, you can have a feel of what they would have been like. Selfie station. Then in the second room, we take it right up to the modern day, so we've got our Queen Elizabeth II gave us another charter, so that's up. We've got the Burgesses couldn't be with us. Is there anyone here from the Burgesses? Hey, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. Sadly, Jim Dowler is not very well today, so sadly he really wanted to be here, but sadly he can't make it. We've got Burgess robes as they are today. So we've got the video with 1973 up to present day. And then also we've got feedback forms, so please do, if you have enjoyed today, please tell us. And also me and Jane, you know, what would you like to see next year? You know, all crazy ideas welcome for future funding bids. So please do give us, looking at the time, please do give us your feedback. And then in the third room, which is the Spotlight Gallery corridor, at that point, do you notice you've stepped back into the Victorian house at that point? So we've got the modern extension, light, bright and airy, all done environmentally friendly. We even won awards for how environmentally friendly that new gallery is. And then you're stepping right back into the Victorian house. You can all imagine how much that's costing us to heat right now. So if you can put a couple of quid in the donation box, we would appreciate it. And then in that room is objects from people who've lived or had a link to Newcastle right up to the modern day. So do make sure you see all three rooms, and don't leave without buying your exhibition guide. £4.50. I've got a stack at the back of the room. Just pay the lovely Ben at reception. So I do hope you're going to look forward to what we're going to see.
Thank you very much.
You might not all fit at the same time, so if some of you are...
Everyone hold your breath and squeeze.
How about if everybody fancies a cup of tea before they go in? Yeah, maybe some of you go for a cup of tea, and then it's so great so many people have come today. Actually, we never know how many chairs to put out. So thank you all for coming, for your support. Oh, please.
I just want to say thank you all for coming. Can we give Elise and the team a round of applause?
Oh. It's been more than 2 years in the making today. Me and Glenn saying we can't quite believe that it's here.
Sitting in the cafeteria before it was open, before this room was completed,
Yeah.
discussing it.
Yeah.
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 So,
I think that's a fitting point for me to
Oh,
ask.
good, yeah.
What's next?
Okay, so I've only got 3 minutes, so I'm going to try and keep this super brief. We have got so many events coming up, they don't even fit on one pull-up. They're all on the 850 website, and you can also just take a snapshot on your phone of the bullets of what all the things that are coming. But there's loads more. People keep coming up to me with ideas, and I keep going, rather than saying no, we've got enough. We go, actually, yeah, go on, we'll do that too. So pretty much every week we've got something happening. And every week there's another event appearing on the website that someone says, oh, I'll do that. So please do keep checking the website. In terms of the actual charters themselves, after the exhibition is running until the 9th of July, at which point Richard Nichols, who is the Staffordshire Archive have I got that right, Claire? Richard Nichols is the Staffordshire Archives conservationist. Is that his official title? Oh no, I've done it again. Sorry, a conservationist is the person who's helping us with our pond outside with all the wildlife. We've got an exciting wildlife project coming this year, and for which we have a conservationist to advise us on how we can help the wildlife. Richard Nichols is a conservator. I got this wrong when I practiced yesterday as well.
that one has mutes and that one doesn't.
Yes, and Richard Nichols is a conservator who he's doing so much work. I won't tell you now because you can actually meet Richard. He's doing a talk and tour here in June where he will talk about all the conservation work that he's going to do. So I don't have time to talk to you about that, but anybody wants to know, come and grab me. I can talk at length about the care that they're going to need. Next, it's then going off to a local scanners. So they're going to be having high digital scans done. So you can look on our website and get up really close and zoom and look at them. You can even get them printed on a T-shirt if that's what you fancy doing. We'll be able to do prints of it. And then, of course, they will be returning to Brampton Museum, where they will be cared for in our archive. Now, we are a small museum. We're only 4.5 members of staff. We all work part-time. We are very small, and I might need to ask my colleague Claire here to help me out. The next thing that's happening, and Claire will jump in if I get this wrong. I've got handwritten notes here. We need to purchase some new storage for them, because if you look at the charters now, you can see all the fold lines where they've been folded. I mean, Glenn did a wonderful story where, well, of course they were folded. they were had to fit in your saddlebag. When they came from London, they were folded up and
Yeah.
props. Look at this. I don't think that's quite an authentic medieval bag, but that's
Only
the,
Express.
but that's the size of it. So it's all very complicated, but they're going to have to like be heated or relaxed or something, basically, so that those folds will come out and they will then be laid flat. At that point, the charters increase in size. The medieval ones, absolutely tiny. The Tudor ones, huge, illuminated. Make sure you have a look at the calligraphy and the imagery on those. You've got little animals in the corner. They're absolutely beautiful. What we need is some proper storage where we can store them flat. So, and all this is coming up to is in the exhibition there is a donation box specifically. I'm not sure if I sold that. I was talking to Claire and I was like, how can we make this new storage sound sexy? And I don't think I've quite achieved it there. But so it's saying, we want some new cupboards. Can you please help us out? So if you can put a couple of quid in the box, please do so that we want them to be here in another 800 years, so we can still enjoy them. So please do put some money in the box for Brampton Museum. Thank you. So we're just about to, we are just about on time. We're right about to ask Simon to declare the exhibition open. I brought Simon in some proper big gold scissors. But Glenn has beat me because he trumped me and he said, I have some scissors that are Victorian and they belonged to one of the original founders of the Civic Society.
They belong to Hilda Franz, who's husband of Eric Franz. One of the
Yeah, so I was getting laughed at in the office that we were going to have a scissor off this morning. I have lost and Glenn has won the scissor off. I don't think we're all going to fit, so if some of you could come through